The skies above Antarctica burned red with laser fire. Commander Juwan Park's face reflected the crimson glow as she stared at tactical displays showing Earth's final defense crumbling. 6 months ago, the mock vessels had appeared without warning, enormous black shapes descending through Earth's atmosphere. Now, humanity faced extinction. Juwan straightened her uniform and looked around the command center of Antarctic Research Base Alpha. Once home to 500 personnel, only 37 remained. The rest had fallen in desperate battles across the frozen continent or been sent to reinforce other outposts. Outposts that now transmitted only silence. "Status report," she ordered, voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. Lieutenant Yumgo looked up from his console, dark circles under his eyes. Northern defense grid offline. Eastern barriers compromised. Western quadrant reporting heavy casualties. He paused. "Commander, we're the last active military installation on the planet." Juwan nodded, having expected this news. The great cities had fallen first. Seoul, New York, Lagos, Sydney, all reduced to ash within days. Military bases had held out longer, but one by one, they'd gone dark. Now only this final outpost remained, hidden beneath the Antarctic ice. An explosion rocked the facility, sending dust raining from the ceiling. "Perimeter breach in Sector 7. Called out Communications Officer Yuna. Ground teams report mock infantry have penetrated the upper levels." Juwan closed her eyes briefly. They had fought well, but the end had always been inevitable. The mock possessed technology centuries beyond Earth's capabilities, energy shields that made conventional weapons useless, biotechnology that allowed them to adapt to any environment, ships that could tear through Earth's strongest alloys like paper. "Display global status," Juwan commanded. The main screen changed to show Earth. Red dots covered the surface. Mock occupation points. Green dots, human strongholds, had once been plentiful. Now only a single green point blinked at the South Pole. Another explosion, closer this time. The lights flickered. "Commander," said Security Chief Do-Yun as he entered, blood streaking his face. "They've broken through the first 3 security checkpoints. We have 20 minutes, maybe less." Juwan nodded. "Begin evacuation protocol. Get all non-combat personnel to the emergency shelters. The shelters won't hold against mock weapons," Do-Yun said quietly. "No," Juwan agreed, "but Protocol Lazarus will." Do-Yun's eyes widened. Protocol Lazarus, the final contingency plan, created in the early days of the war when humanity still believed they might win. When it became clear victory was impossible, the protocol had transformed into something else. A seed of hope planted in the frozen ground, meant to bloom long after humanity's fall. "Are you certain?" Do-Yun asked. Another explosion answered for her. The facility shook violently. Emergency lights flashed on as the main power failed. "Initiate Protocol Lazarus," Juwan commanded, entering her authorization code into her wrist computer. Authorization Park 7 to 73 Delta. The computer chimed in acknowledgement. Deep beneath them, in chambers carved from the Antarctic bedrock, thousands of cryogenic pods began their pre-activation sequence. Within those pods lay humanity's last hope. Soldiers enhanced beyond normal human capabilities, altered genetically and cybernetically, placed in suspended animation to await the day they would be needed. Protocol Lazarus initiated, confirmed the base AI. Cryogenic preservation systems switching to autonomous power. Awakening sequence scheduled for optimal tactical advantage. Juwan opened a channel to address her remaining personnel. "This is Commander Park. The base has been compromised. All personnel, execute final protocols and fall back to defensive positions. It has been my honor to serve with each of you." She switched to a global broadcast frequency, not that many receivers remained to hear it. "This is Commander Juwan Park of Earth Defense Force Antarctic Command to any human survivors. The mock have breached our final stronghold. Protocol Lazarus is now active. To those who might hear this message in days to come, we did not go quietly. Humanity fought until the last, and we have left behind the seeds of our return. The doors to the command center buckled under a powerful impact. The metal groaned. Security teams to command center, called Doyun, raising his rifle. Juwon drew her sidearm. Yunha, Yumho, get to the emergency elevator. Join the others below. Commander, we should all evacuate, protested Yunha. Someone needs to buy time, Juwon said calmly. The mock must not discover what lies beneath. Go, that's an order. Reluctantly, her officers complied, disappearing through a concealed door in the rear of the command center. As it sealed behind them, Juwon positioned herself behind a console, weapon ready. The main door crashed inward. 3 mock soldiers entered, tall, gray-skinned creatures with 4 arms and elongated heads. Their eyes glowed yellow in the emergency lighting. Juwon fired, catching the first in what she hoped was a vulnerable spot. The creature staggered but didn't fall. The other 2 raised their weapons. For Earth, Juwon whispered, continuing to fire as energy beams lanced toward her position. The console exploded, throwing her backward. Through smoke and pain, she saw more mock entering the command center. With her remaining strength, Juwon pressed the final command on her wrist computer, the one that would destroy all evidence of Protocol Lazarus from the base's main systems. As darkness claimed her, Commander Juwon Park smiled. The mock might have won this war, but humans had always excelled at planting seeds that would grow long after their deaths. Far below, protected by tons of ice and rock, thousands of cryogenic pods hummed quietly as their occupants slept. Above them, the last battle for humanity ended, and around them, hidden systems counted down the years until Earth's defenders would rise again. 200 years of winter was coming, and after winter, spring. Cold, then pain, then burning lungs gasping for air. Colonel Taehyun Kim's eyes snapped open, his vision blurry as frozen eyelashes thawed. The cryopod's clear cover retracted with a mechanical hiss. His enhanced muscles spasmed as warmth returned to his body. 200 years of dreaming ended in an instant. Vital signs stabilizing, said a calm female voice. Welcome back, Colonel Kim. I am Haena, the base artificial intelligence. Taehyun tried to speak, but his throat was too dry. A mechanical arm extended from the wall, offering a small cup of water. He drank greedily, then croaked. Status report. Date is April 17, 2245. Protocol Lazarus activation parameters have been met. 6 primary team members are now being revived. Base systems are operating at 87% efficiency. The memories flooded back. The mock invasion. Earth's military falling city by city, base by base. The super soldier program. Operation Aegis, that had transformed him and others into humanity's final contingency plan. The genetic enhancements. The cybernetic implants. The weapons training. And the knowledge that if they were ever awakened, it meant humanity had lost. Taehyun tried to stand, legs wobbly beneath him. His body felt strange, familiar yet different. 2 centuries in cryosleep, yet biologically he had aged only days. External situation, he asked, steadier now. A view screen activated on the wall. Earth remains under mock occupation. No human communications have been detected for 197 years. Orbital scans indicate significant terraforming and mock settlement across all continents. So they had lost. Completely. 5 other cryopods hissed open around him. His team. They had trained together, enhanced together, prepared together for this moment they had hoped would never come. Subin gasped awake first, the tactical expert's eyes immediately scanning the room for threats. Next came Minho, the weapons specialist whose hands were already flexing, muscle memory testing for readiness. Yunji, their engineer, woke more calmly, immediately checking the nearest computer terminal. Hyunwoo, communications expert, and Jisoo, their medic, awakened last, disoriented but quickly regaining focus. Colonel, acknowledged Subin, her voice raspy from disuse. Looks like the worst-case scenario. Brief us, Taehyun ordered the AI as his team gathered around, wrapped in thermal blankets. Hyena's voice remained steady. Following the fall of Antarctic Command, Mach forces completed planetary conquest within 3 months. Major population centers were destroyed. Surviving humans were relocated to labor camps. Within 5 years, most humans had perished from work conditions or deliberate extermination. Images appeared on the screen. Earth's cities in ruins, Mach structures rising in their place, strange purple vegetation growing alongside Earth's green. Alien ships patrolling skies with a greenish tint. Any resistance? Any survivors? Asked Minnow. Unknown, replied Hyena. Surface monitoring capabilities are limited. Deep scans detect anomalies that could indicate small human populations in isolated areas, but confirmation is impossible without direct observation. Jisoo moved to check the medical readouts on each team member. All enhancements are functional. Cellular regeneration active. Muscle density optimal. Neural processors online. They had been transformed before the cryosleep, altered to be stronger, faster, more durable than ordinary humans. Their bones reinforced, muscles enhanced, senses sharpened, brains connected to neural processors that accelerated thought and reaction time. They were no longer entirely human. They were what humanity had needed to survive. Just too late to matter. Equipment status, Taehyun asked. Armory at full capacity, said Hyena. Adaptive combat suits, energy weapons, stealth technology, all preserved as specified. Food supplies sufficient for 6 months at enhanced metabolic rates. Yoonji moved to a nearby terminal. Base power at 87%, drawing from geothermal taps. External sensors show no indication that our facility has been detected. We're still hidden. Taehyun nodded. First priority is information. We need to know what we're facing. What about other bases? Asked Hyunwoo. There were supposed to be 12 installations like this one around the world. Attempting communication, said Hyena. No responses yet. Each facility was designed to operate independently. Others may still be in hibernation mode. Taehyun considered their options. 6 enhanced soldiers against a planet of conquerors. The math was not promising. Show me the nearest Mach settlement, he ordered. The screen changed to display an aerial view of what had once been McMurdo Station. Now it housed alien structures and mining equipment. Mach moved about their business, unaware of being observed. There's something else you should see, said Hyena. The display split to show another feed. This one showing non-Mach aliens working under harsh conditions, supervised by Mach overseers. Slaves, observed Subin. They've brought other conquered species here. Potential allies, countered Minnow. Taehyun stared at the images. Prepare the combat suits. We need to see the surface with our own eyes. 6 hours later, after medical checks and equipment preparation, they gathered in the base's primary airlock. Their combat suits, sleek, black armor that molded to their bodies, activated their thermal regulation as the outer door opened, revealing a tunnel leading up to the surface. Remember your training, said Taehyun. We observe only. No contact. No combat unless absolutely necessary. They moved through the tunnel with inhuman speed and silence, enhanced muscles propelling them upward. After several minutes, they reached a hidden exit point, camouflaged among rocky outcroppings. Taehyun was the first to step onto the surface of an Earth no human had walked for 2 centuries. The air smelled different, alien spores mixing with familiar oxygen. The perpetual Antarctic night was lit by strange lights from the distant Mach settlement. This isn't a reconnaissance mission anymore, said Subin quietly. This is a resistance. No, said Taehyun, looking up at the altered sky. This is a reclamation. Behind them, deep in the ice, thousands more cryopods waited. Earth's frozen army, ready to be awakened. The last humans had fallen. But humanity's vengeance was just beginning to stir. The team moved silently across the Antarctic landscape, their enhanced bodies barely registering the extreme cold. Taehyun signaled a halt as they reached the ridge overlooking what had once been McMurdo Station. In the valley below, alien structures gleamed under strange purple lights. "Activate thermal dampening," Taehyun ordered quietly. Their combat suits responded instantly, adjusting to mask their heat signatures from mock scanners. Yoonji unpacked her sensor equipment, setting up a small array pointed toward the settlement. Getting clear readings now. Approximately 300 Mach in the main compound. Several different subspecies based on size variations. Shubin extended her enhanced vision, optical implants zooming in on the activity below. Mining operation. They're extracting something from deep under the ice. "Can you identify what they're mining?" asked Taehyun. "Some kind of glowing blue crystal," Suvin replied. "Being loaded onto transport vehicles." Hyunwoo had set up his own equipment, a communications interceptor designed to crack alien transmission codes. "I'm picking up their comms. The translation matrix is adapting. Give me a moment." The 6 super soldiers lay motionless in the snow, their bodies designed to remain functional in conditions that would kill normal humans within minutes. Their neural processors were already analyzing everything they observed, identifying patterns and weaknesses. "Got it," Hyunwoo said finally. "They're calling the crystals flux matter. Appears to be a power source for their ships." And he paused, listening to more transmissions. "They're discussing labor shortages. The slaves are dying too quickly in these conditions." "No, they won't," said Hyunwoo, activating a device on his belt. Deploying electromagnetic pulse. Their sensors will be blind for 6 minutes. The pulse rippled outward, and the pursuing lights flickered and died. Hours later, safe in the hidden base, Nari sat surrounded by the super soldiers as Hyena scanned her for tracking devices. "There are 17 separate human enclaves that we know of," she explained, still staring at them with wonder. "Small groups, descendants of those who hid deep enough to escape the purges. We survive by stealing, by staying hidden." "How many?" asked Jisoo. "Perhaps 3,000 humans left on Earth, total," Nari replied. "But now," she looked at them with growing hope. "Now there's you." Taehyun exchanged glances with his team. Their reconnaissance mission had just become something much more significant. They weren't just gathering intelligence anymore. They had found what they were fighting for. The abandoned mining tunnel shook as explosive charges detonated 3 kilometers away. Dust rained from the ceiling, but the gathered resistance fighters didn't flinch. 3 months since the super soldiers had awakened, and already they were changing the course of Earth's future. Taehyun stood before a makeshift holographic display showing the southern continent. Red dots indicated mock strongholds. Blue markers showed confirmed human settlements. Yellow highlighted their successful strikes. "The attack on Fuel Depot 6 is complete," announced Minho, entering the command center with his combat suit showing signs of recent battle. "All mock forces eliminated. 43 slaves liberated." A cheer went up from the assembled humans, a mix of cave dwellers like Nari and newly awakened super soldiers from bases they'd managed to contact. What had started as 6 enhanced warriors had grown to 38, with more awakening each month as they located and activated the hidden facilities around the world. "Were there casualties?" asked Taehyun. "None on our side," Minho replied. "The Mock still don't understand what they're fighting. Their sensors can't track our enhanced signatures." Nari approached, no longer the frightened scavenger they'd first encountered. Now she wore modified combat gear and coordinated the growing network of human survivors. "News from the North American enclave," she said. "They've made contact with another human settlement, miners who've been hiding in deep shafts under the Rocky Mountains for generations. At least 400 more people." Taehyun nodded. Each week brought new discoveries of surviving humans, small groups who had managed to stay hidden through the generations, passing down stories of Earth before the invasion, waiting for a day they never truly believed would come. And the mock response to our attacks? He asked. Confusion, said Hyunwoo, who had become their chief intelligence officer. Their communications indicate they believe they're facing an unknown alien resistance, not humans. They think humanity is extinct. That misconception is our greatest advantage, said Subin, studying the tactical display. But it won't last forever. The main screen flickered as a transmission came through their secure channel. The face of Jiho appeared, leader of the super soldier team they'd awakened in what was once South America. Taehyun, we've completed the raid on the mock biotechnology facility, Jiho reported. We've recovered something important, something you need to see. Hours later, Yoonji looked up from the stolen mock data cores, her expression revealing rare excitement. It's as we suspected, she said to the gathered command team. The mock altered Earth's atmosphere to better suit their biology, but they missed something crucial. She brought up diagrams showing molecular structures. This is a bacteria native to Earth, but modified by the terraforming process. It's harmless to humans and most Earth life, but to mock physiology. She paused. It's potentially lethal. They've been fighting outbreaks for decades. A weakness, said Minho with a predatory smile. More than that, continued Yoonji. Their biosuits and medicines are the only things keeping them alive on our planet. They're vulnerable in a way they don't even fully understand. Taehyun processed this information through his enhanced brain. So Earth itself is fighting back. In a way, agreed Yoonji. But they've developed countermeasures. To use this advantage, we'd need to overwhelm their medical capabilities. The implications were clear. Small raids wouldn't be enough anymore. They needed a larger strategy. Taehyun turned to Minari. Contact all human enclaves. It's time they meet their liberators face to face. Over the next weeks, super soldiers traveled to each confirmed human settlement, bringing supplies, technology, and most importantly, hope. What had been isolated pockets of survivors began to coalesce into an organized resistance. In the Antarctic base, now serving as their headquarters, Taehyun stood before representatives from 12 human enclaves, leaders who had made the dangerous journey to see the legendary soldiers for themselves. For 2 centuries, you've kept humanity alive, Taehyun told them. You survived when the mock thought they had exterminated us all. Now, it's time to do more than survive. It's time to take back our planet. He outlined the plan. Coordinated strikes against mock medical facilities and atmospheric processors. Disruption of their countermeasures against Earth's bacteria. Liberation of the slave races to bolster their numbers. This won't be without risk, he concluded. Many of us won't survive. But for the first time since the fall, we have a chance. An older woman, leader of the European cave dwellers, spoke up. My grandmother's grandmother told stories about the last days, about soldiers who would sleep beneath the ice and one day return. She studied Taehyun's face. We thought they were just stories to give children hope. Sometimes, said Taehyun, hope is enough. The first coordinated global attack came 3 days later. 7 mock medical facilities struck simultaneously by super soldier teams. Thousands of biosuits and medical supplies destroyed. Slave barracks emptied as captives fled to the resistance. The mock response was swift and brutal. Orbital bombardments targeted suspected human hideouts. Patrols increased, but for every countermeasure, the resistance adapted. A month into the campaign, Taehyun stood on a ridge overlooking what had once been Beijing. The mock city gleamed in the distance, but even from here, he could see the signs of chaos. Emergency lights flashed. Vessels moved erratically. The bacteria was taking its toll. Incoming transmission, reported Hyunwoo, who stood beside him. It's from the Crawl. The Crawl were one of the slave species, 6-limbed beings with natural engineering aptitude. Since their liberation, many had joined the resistance. Put it through, said Taehyun. The chief Crawl engineer's face appeared on their portable communicator. We've completed modifications to the captured mock shuttle. We can breach their orbital command station. Taehyun nodded. Prepare the team. We launch in 3 days. Behind him, a column of humans and liberated aliens marched across the landscape, heading toward the next objective. Former slaves now fought alongside the descendants of those who had hidden for generations, and super soldiers awakened from their long sleep. Where once there had been only scattered survivors, now an army moved with purpose. The resistance was no longer rising. It had risen. And the Mauk were about to face the full fury of a planet they had mistakenly believed conquered. Earth was fighting back. The captured Mauk shuttle shuddered as it approached the massive orbital command station. Through the viewport, Earth hung like a blue and purple jewel against the blackness of space. Taehyun checked his weapons one final time as Subin piloted them toward the docking bay. Approaching final checkpoint, Subin reported, transmitting stolen clearance codes. The 6 original super soldiers had insisted on taking this mission themselves. The most dangerous assignment in their campaign to reclaim Earth would be theirs to complete or die trying. Status report from the surface, said Hyunwoo, monitoring communications. All teams in position. Global assault begins the moment we breach the command center. The plan was simple but audacious. While Taehyun's team infiltrated the orbital station to confront the Mauk leadership, resistance forces worldwide would strike every major Mauk installation simultaneously. The bacteria weakening the invaders had already caused chaos in their ranks. This coordinated attack would push them past their breaking point. Clearance accepted, said Subin with surprise. They're not even questioning our approach. They still don't believe humans could pilot their vessels, said Minho. Their arrogance will be their downfall. The shuttle eased into the docking bay, settling among similar craft. Through the viewport, they could see Mauk workers moving about, unaware of what approached. Combat suits to full stealth mode, ordered Taehyun. Remember, we need to reach the central control chamber intact. Their black armor rippled, activating adaptive camouflage that bent light around them. To Mauk eyes, they would be nearly invisible, brief shadows at most. They moved through the station with practiced efficiency, their enhanced bodies making no sound as they navigated corridors and avoided patrols. Occasionally, they would freeze as Mauk passed within centimeters, the aliens unaware of the deadly humans in their midst. We're approaching the command level, whispered Yunji, checking the schematics they'd extracted from captured data cores. Security will be heaviest here. Good, said Minho, flexing his hands. I was getting bored. The door to the command level was guarded by 4 heavily armed Mauk. Unlike the workers below, these wore full combat armor and held weapons at ready positions. Taehyun signaled silently, 3 fingers raised, then closed into a fist. The team understood immediately. 3 seconds later, all 4 guards lay unconscious on the floor, neutralized so quickly they hadn't even triggered alarms. Jisoo administered a sedative to ensure they remained unconscious. Hyunwoo signaled the surface teams, ordered Taehyun. Tell them we're proceeding to the final phase. Hyunwoo nodded, sending the encrypted message that would launch attacks across the planet below. Beyond the security door lay a circular chamber with panoramic views of Earth. In its center stood a raised platform where a single Mauk stood taller than any they had seen before. Its 4 arms were adorned with ceremonial armor, and its elongated head bore markings of high status. Around the chamber, at least 20 other Mauk worked at control stations. None had noticed the door opening and closing seemingly on its own. Supreme Commander Krav, whispered Hyunwoo, recognizing the central figure from intelligence briefings, the highest authority in the occupation force. Taehyun stepped forward, deactivating his stealth camouflage. His team followed suit, suddenly appearing in the middle of the Mauk command center, weapons ready. The reaction was immediate. Alarms blared. Guards reached for weapons. The Supreme Commander's yellow eyes widened in shock. Humans, Krav spoke, his translator rendering his clicks and whistles into recognizable speech. Impossible. Your kind was eradicated. Clearly not, replied Taehyun, keeping his weapon trained on the commander. Your occupation of Earth ends today. Before more words could be exchanged, the view screens around the chamber flickered to life, showing feeds from the planet's surface. Mock installations under attack. Resistance forces, human and liberated aliens together. Overwhelming defensive positions. In the atmosphere, the bacterial agent spread from dispersal devices the resistance had planted weeks earlier. "What you're seeing is happening worldwide," said Taeyeon. "Your forces are collapsing. The bacterial agent your scientists have been fighting for decades. We've enhanced it, specifically targeted to mock biology." Krav moved to a control panel, but Minho's warning shot stopped him. "Don't. You think victory will be this simple?" Krav hissed. "We conquered your world in days. We shaped it to our needs. And yet, Earth never stopped fighting you," countered Taeyeon. "Even the microbes of this world rejected your presence. You never truly conquered Earth. You've been dying slowly ever since you arrived." On the screens, more scenes of the mock defeat played out. Vessels attempting to flee atmosphere. Soldiers surrendering to resistance forces. "What do you want?" asked Krav finally. "To kill us all. Revenge for your fallen civilization." "No," said Taeyeon. "Surrender your forces. Withdraw from Earth. Return to your homeworld." The commander made a sound that might have been laughter. "Our homeworld no longer exists. Why do you think we came to this planet? We needed a new home." This revelation stunned the team momentarily. Yeonji recovered first. "Explain." "Our star system was destabilizing," said Krav. "We searched for suitable worlds. Yours was perfect, or could be made perfect with adjustments. We did what was necessary for our species to survive." "By attempting to exterminate another?" asked Jisoo. "Regrettable, but necessary," replied Krav without remorse. "And now you would do the same to us." Taeyeon lowered his weapon slightly. "No, we're not like you. Surrender, and your people can live, not as conquerors, but as refugees under our terms." For long moments, Krav was silent, watching the screens as more of his forces fell to the coordinated assault. Finally, he pressed a control on his armor. "All mock forces, stand down," he ordered, his voice broadcasting across all channels. "I repeat, stand down." 6 months later, Taeyeon stood on a hillside watching as the last mock ships departed Earth's atmosphere. Below, the ruins of a once great human city were being reclaimed by a mix of humans and former slave species who had chosen to remain. "Do you think they'll honor the treaty?" asked Subin, joining him on the hill. "They'll settle on the Mars colonies as agreed," said Taeyeon. "They have no choice. The bacterial agent makes Earth toxic to them, now without constant medical intervention." In the valley, human children played alongside the offspring of alien allies. The purple vegetation introduced by mock terraforming was being carefully managed, integrated with Earth's native ecosystem where possible, removed where necessary. "What now?" asked Subin. "The mission we were created for is complete." Taeyeon watched as more humans emerged from a transport vessel, awakened super soldiers from the last cryo facility they'd discovered, joining the new world they'd helped create. "Now we rebuild," he said simply. "We protect what we've reclaimed. And we prepare." "For what?" Taeyeon looked to the stars, now visible as evening approached. The mock fled something that destroyed their homeworld. Somewhere out there, other threats may exist. Next time, Earth will be ready. Below them, humans who had hidden in darkness for generations now walked freely under open sky. The last human had fallen 2 centuries ago, but humanity had risen again, changed, stronger, and now reaching toward a future among the stars that no one could have imagined in those final desperate days of the invasion. Earth had been reclaimed, and its defenders would ensure it never fell again.